Is it too loud? Okay, we're going to start our forum. And first of all, with the farm here, was there anyone, who's president, Mr. Flamel? Would you like to do a welcome or anything? Okay. Okay, well, we really appreciate the Farm Bureau for putting this together. I know it's a lot of work, and we thank you for doing this. And then again, I think it's important to thank all these candidates up here. You know, it's not easy being a candidate sometimes, and I really admire all of you for having the courage to stand up and run. And I found that it was much easier to solve a problem in a coffee klatch. But when you get in the meeting and you hear the pros and the cons, it's not always easy to make a decision. And I know that lots of times you feel they don't make the right decision, but it's important to listen to the meetings and what they feel tonight. Most of you have gotten this. The candidates have drawn for an order. We'll start out with the representatives, then we'll go to the commissioners. And, is there just one county attorney? Oh, you're so lucky you don't get a question. Pardon? Oh, yes, okay. Just, thank you, Carol. And then we'll go to sheriff and then the JP. Right now, let's all stand and say the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, with laws, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the candidates have drawn for who will speak first, and I think you've all looked over this. So what they'll do is they'll each give an introduction speech, 3 minutes, and Robin Kersher is our timer here. So you'll be watching, she'll warn you. And then I will ask one question and both candidates will answer that question. Then the candidates can ask each other a question. And then we will accept questions, one question from each of you or from one or two of you, from the audience. And I ask you to be considerate and be ethical here. It's okay to disagree, but we don't want to really be disagreeable and discourage people from coming here. It takes a lot of courage to be up here because I've been in their shoes, and so I really appreciate them. So we'll start out with the representatives, and they're both here. And we have drawn Marla. You drew first. Would you like to come up here?
Can you hear me? My name is Marla Clark, and of course I'm running for House District 70. I'm a Democrat. I came from a white middle-class Republican family. But I guess I have a change in how my values are. And I've come here to let you know what I think and how I believe, because I think that's really important when it would be coming to voting in the legislature. First of all, I would like to say I support equality and protection for all persons regardless of age, gender, race, religion, and sexual orientation. I support fiscal responsibility in our government without cutting jobs, and I think it can be done. I support a reasonable, responsible, efficient use of our natural resources to create jobs while protecting the environment. I think it can be done as well. I am pro-choice, not more government intrusion in our lives. I don't think that that is a decision that should be made by the clergy, by lay people, by politicians, or anyone else. I think it's a very personal thing. I could elaborate on that, but I don't have a lot of time to do that. But anyway, so that you know where I stand. I support our Constitution, including our right to bear arms. And I support taking care of our veterans, all of them. I think it is our responsibility. I think that can also be carried into our seniors as well. I would like to see some way to protect our Medicare and our Social Security. I think that those are things that we have earned, we've paid into them, we haven't, it's not something that is just, what do I want to say? It's not an entitlement. I'd like to say that I think that that's worth protecting. I don't think it should be privatized. I have a whole list of other things that I could go on with, but you know, at the end of this meeting, if you could come up and talk to me, I'll tell you what I think and listen to your concerns as well. And that's really all I have for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. And now we have Kelly Flynn, the representative.
My name's Kelly Flynn, and I am one of you. I'm a citizen, and I'm a citizen legislator. Just like many of you, I go out and I work on a job every day to try to make ends meet and have a family meet a budget. And I'm your legislator. This is my third go at being your legislator. In the beginning, I didn't have much experience. And I do now. I wanted to look at what I stood for in the beginning. And if I did the things that you folks expected me to do. And I opened my flyer. It has the same things that I had when I ran 4 years ago. Keeping taxes low and budgets trim. Protect private property and Second Amendment rights. Provide a quality and affordable education. And improve our business climate to foster the creation of good jobs. I've served in 2 sessions. First session, I tried to take a big bite at the apple. We still got some things done for the people, you people in the district. We had a bill passed that allowed people that work more than 8 hours in a day if the union and the people agreed. It helped Graymont, helped Triton, helped Folsom. And in that session, I spent almost the entire session fighting for private property rights for every single one of you. This last session, I did the same thing, except I learned you take a smaller bite at the apple. Fortunately, we passed a bill that really helps you for private property rights. We passed a bill that lowered costs in the justice court for all of you as taxpayers. We passed a bill that would have helped save state employees in health costs. Governor vetoed it. And I passed bills that lowered regulation so all of you with small businesses, or you people who draw paychecks anywhere, will have more dollars. I'd like to serve you again. It's been I'm humbled to have served you for 2 sessions. And I'm ready to go there again and do the job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for holding your applause till the 2 who are running for representative spoke. And now we have those running for county commissioner. Can you hear me? Okay. Tim Ravendall drew #1 spot, and then Laura Ober.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to begin by thanking the sponsors for putting the forum on and giving the opportunity for everyone to hear from the candidates this evening. I would also like to recognize our military members for all that they give in the name of American freedom. It is so important to us here at home. I would like to thank all of you for coming out tonight and taking time out of your evening to hear from us. My name is Tim Raudendahl. I was born in 1958 in Anaconda, Montana. I would like to recognize my best friend, my wife of 31 years, and the mother of our 3 children, Chris. Chris and I moved to Broadwater County nearly 30 years ago. I decided right away that this was the place, the best place, to bring our children up into this world. Chris and I continued throughout this time working to do the right thing for everyone. I have been directly involved in our local government for over 15 years, and also every 2 years I've engaged as a citizens lobbyist for everyone at the Montana legislature. It was once said that when the legislature is in session, our rights are never more in danger, and this is so very true. Our local government is made up of 3 commissioners that must work together as a team with other elected officials taking care of the people's business. We must restore a healthy work environment that is essential to a productive workforce. We are currently witnessing a fast-paced, unsustainable growth in local government. Mistakes have been made, leading to multiple lawsuits, ultimately impacting the taxpayers. We have been exposed to improper contracting where thousands of dollars in restitution is owed to the people. Our constitutional right to participation in government continues to be stressed to the limit. We are at a crossroads here in Broadwater County, and it is our duty to our children to make sure that we make the right choice at this intersection. I am seeking your vote of confidence to turn our local government in the right direction. Please take the time to learn the truth and make the right choice in November. Thanks again, and I will look forward to representing you here in Broadwater County with honor. Thank you very much.
Hold the applause till both have spoken. Thank you. Now Laura, over.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming, and especially thank you to Farm Bureau and the Cattle Women, and to Robin and Leanne for moderating. The job of county commissioners is to be the CEO of the county. As the chief executive officer, it's our job to put aside our emotional responses and our personal agendas and look at every issue based on facts, data, and evidence. Then we make a decision based on what's good for the entire county with the long view in mind. That also gives us the ability to work with fellow commissioners, other agencies, the state, and partners. The commission balances a $13 million budget. We supervise directly 11 employees, and by extension another 60. Employees have got to know their job, they've got to do their job, but supervisors have the job of motivating employees. We've got to make sure that employees know exactly what they need to do and have the proper training to do it. More than anything else, we've got to lead by example. During my first term as a county commissioner, some of the examples was to be dedicated to the job. In 2009, one of the first things we did was get the meeting minutes published in the local newspaper. That hadn't been done before. Today, those meetings are uploaded in full on YouTube. You can watch the meetings at your leisure, see facial expressions, body language, see exactly what we do on your behalf. Regarding the budget, we ended the use it or lose it practice. Now, a department head who has responsibly managed their budget doesn't have to scramble to find a way to spend their money at the end of the year. They can put it into a savings account and save for computers, printers, equipment they need to do their jobs. Another thing we did is we tied departments to mills, not to wish lists. What this did is it gave the department heads the knowledge of where they stood throughout the year with their budget, rather than having to second guess. Everybody has their set parameters. That also makes the budget process a whole lot easier and much more peaceful. Now, smart budgeting has certain benefits. Last year, we were able to reduce your taxes, Broadwater County property taxes, by 8.5% on average across the board. This is the dedication I bring to the job. My name is Laura Olbert, and I am your county commissioner. It's based on these qualifications, my experience in leadership, that I'm running for re-election. And I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Okay, now we have one candidate here, Corey Swenson, for county attorney. So Corey.
So I get 6 minutes?
Your dreams.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm Corey Swanson. I'm running for county attorney. We do have another candidate who couldn't be here tonight, so I won't advertise for him. I know I've seen a lot of you. Holy cow. Wow. Hold on a second. That's my brother. Anyway, so my wife and I, what's that?
TikTok.
My wife and I live here in Broadwater County. We have 2 little children that are, our son is going to kindergarten and our daughter is going to preschool here. And we're very excited about this opportunity to not only be running for this position, but to be raising our children here and to be here for the long term. That's our plan. And we are excited not only to join the community and the team, but to focus on helping the team. And one of the things that I've talked about throughout this campaign is focus on what the county attorney can bring to the county government and to the community as a member of the team. And what I want to bring is really a positive attitude towards solving problems. There's been a lot of talk about various decisions that the county commission has to make, and the county commission needs to be able to rely on a county attorney providing legal advice. And that's something that they can ask me to do. And I will work very hard to do that, to try and help make decisions that will avoid some of the fights that have gone on. Certainly not every fight, and where would lawyers be without fights? But I'll do my very best. I think I want to work with law enforcement to provide a better communication and relationship on how we manage cases and communicate with victims so they understand what's happening with a case that may be taking a while to charge. And so I think communication and teamwork are really going to be the hallmarks of what you can expect from me. And then certainly an open door. If you have a question, if you have, there's certain limits of what legal advice I can give to citizens on issues that are not my business. But I can certainly provide an open door, provide an ear, and try to provide just an opportunity to be a listening, cooperating, and positive member of the team. So those are the things that you can expect to see from me as county attorney. And I'm certainly available. I'm not sure how many more opportunities I get to speak tonight. I think fewer than everybody else. So I'm available tonight afterwards if anybody would like to visit with me. I'll be around. I also have some signs in the pickup if anyone wants to pick up a sign. And I'm looking forward to many future conversations as we try to build our team in a positive and I think positive direction where communication and working together to solve some of these criminal prosecution issues and just being able to rely on a county attorney to give guidance and advice to the county commission and help them do their job. Thank you.
I think Corey Swenson or Swanson.
Swanson.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you think.
Okay, thank you. Just a reminder to turn off your cell phones. Okay, next we have the sheriff candidates, and Marvin, you drew first.
if you can hear me. My phone's gonna ring my brother's phone. Little background, I'm actually a highway patrolman, sergeant with highway patrol here, but I started my career in the Baker Police Department. I actually put myself through the academy. And during that academy stint, 2 weeks into it, I decided to get married. So I came home on the weekend, got married to my wife now, went back, we didn't have a honeymoon. Yet we haven't had one. So from the Baker Police Department, went to my hometown of Miles City. I was a city police officer there. And I spent 6 years there, and I was like, you know, I had a brother on the highway patrol. He's like, come on board. So we came on board to the highway patrol, and about a few years into it, I tested for sergeant, and I became Governor Schweitzer's security. And if you were at the Republican convention, I told a nice joke, but I'm not going to do that here. My wife frowned upon it. And from there, I spent 2 years there doing that, and then I decided, you know what, I want to be Cal James's boss, so I came back to the road, and I've been there since the end of 2012. I get a lot of people asking, why do you want to become sheriff? Are you crazy? A lot of that. I look for it as a challenge. You know, I've been in this business going on 21 years, and I look for a challenge. You know, and I can tell you, being in 3 different agencies, every agency has its faults. Even the Miles City Police Department, the Baker Police Department, and the Highway Patrol. Okay, there's things that they do that I would never do if I was ever elected as sheriff. Okay. Some of the things I would do as sheriff, one thing I get really excited about, and I'm on the school board, is patrols at the school. Does that seem pretty bad, or do I get excited about that? 10 minutes a day, in the morning, at noon, and in an afternoon. It's not that tough to do, folks. Why don't we see it? The city pays them $220,650 a year. Give me 30 minutes a day to go patrol these schools. Okay? That's a big thing for me. Okay? Another thing that really, and I don't know the history behind it, the sheriff's office never helps the ambulance service. Never goes to their calls. Why is that? I don't know. These guys are putting their lives on the line, the ambulance service, just like we are. That bothers me, okay? And, you know, I've done a little campaigning down north and down south. I get a lot down south, but they don't get any patrols down there. So, I'm almost ready to come to an end here. So that's some of my concerns. And if you stay after, I'll tell you the joke I made with the Republican Party, okay?
Our next candidate for sheriff is Brenda Lundgren.
First off, I'd like to thank the Cattlewomen and the Farm Bureau for putting this on this evening. My name is Brenda Lundgren. I moved here in 1993 with my 2 sons. I was, at the time when I was hired, I was a deputy. From that, I became undersheriff. In 2000, I went to the I went to the VA, where I worked as a clerk and then VA police. In 2007, I was elected your sheriff. Currently, I'm running for my 3rd term as your sheriff. I graduated in '83 from Sims High School. At that time, I entered the U.S. Army as a military police officer. Excuse me, I'm drawing a blank. Currently, I'm running for my 3rd election, and I would appreciate your support in the current election. Thank you.
Robin's up here holding this bright orange sign. Our next candidates are the Justice of Peace. We have Cal James, who grew first.
Good evening. My name is Cal James. I am running for Justice of Peace, and I want to thank you all for coming out here. It's been a pleasure to come before you. So when I get done with my little history here, feel free to talk to me afterwards and try to answer any questions or concerns that you folks have. A little history of myself. I was raised in a law enforcement environment. My father was a highway patrolman for, I think it was 26 years. So I know a little bit of the justice system even before I got involved. I was about 29 years old when I decided I better grow up and get into something responsible. So I got on with the highway patrol. I was fortunate to get on there. I've been there for 27 years, going on 28, I guess. My first assignment was Culbertson, Montana. I don't know if anybody knows where that is. It's up on the other side of the reservation on the northeast corner of the state. And if you've ever worked on a reservation, I got a lot of history and I got a lot of experience on the reservation. It was a good thing for me, but it was time to come back west. I missed the mountains, so the family and I moved back here, and we test drove Townsend. And like Tim said, it was the place to raise children. I raised 2 boys here. They both graduated from Broadwater County High. They both went on to MSU in the engineering department and continued on with their lives. I am a Montana native, born and raised here, so I'm proud to be here. I've been here for 25, 26 years. I've worked with the justice system in various jurisdictions all around Townsend. I work with the Marr County, Jefferson County, so I kind of know how the system works as far as the Justice of the Peace program goes. I would say probably 80–90% of the cases that come through the justice court system are criminal cases, and obviously that's what I do, is the criminal side. So I think I'm pretty well rehearsed and experienced in that kind of that side of the law. I think my past history is probably, maybe some of you won't agree with this, but I've been pretty fair about everything in enforcing laws, and I've been more than be glad to carry that on to this next level. Like I said, any other questions? We're kind of short on time here, but I would be glad to serve as the JP here. It's been held up in high regards from the prior candidate, and I think I can carry on. So please consider your vote for me, and thank you.
Kurt Flynn is our next candidate for Justice of Peace.
First of all, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Kurt Flynn. I graduated from Broadwater High School in 1998. There I went on to get a degree in mechanical engineering. I actually went to school with his kids at MSU Bozeman, so I am a Bobcat fan. Hopefully that doesn't offend anybody. After getting my degree in mechanical engineering, I ended up accepting a job back here at PFM Manufacturing, designing and building land hammer vehicles. I've been there for 12 years. During that time, I also did a stint as an MOA basketball official. And for 4 years, I've been coaching JV basketball here in Townsend and continue to do that as long as I can. I guess that kind of brings me to where I'm at right now. When the Justice of the Peace position became available, I decided to throw my hat in the ring and try to serve Broadwater County in a different way. I've had a lot of people ask me the same thing. Why do you want to do this? You have to deal with the bottom barrel of society. And the reason I want to do this is because that's the exact wrong mindset to take. You know, even good people make mistakes. Bad people make mistakes too. But I really do feel that I'm level-headed enough to discern between those. One thing I'm not going to do is stand up here and say I want to make a lot of changes in the way that Judge Olson handled things around here. For 16 years, he was our Justice of the Peace, and he did an outstanding job, and we're indebted to his service for that 16 years. What I am going to say that if elected, I'm going to do my best to bear my time of office around his example. I feel that the values instilled in me by my parents, my faith, my impartiality, ability to make a decision makes me excellent candidate to walk in Gary Olson's footsteps. I'll do everything I can to uphold what is right for the citizens of Broadwater County, and do everything I can to keep this area a fair and safe place to either grow up or raise a family or retire. I plan on doing all three of those things here. So again, thank you all for coming out. It just shows that every one of you guys care about the community and what's going on in Broadwater County. And I appreciate your vote in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kennedy. Now we will reverse the order a little bit. We will go with the representatives, but Kelly, you're going to go first this time, and Marlo go second. So if you'd like to, I know we can hear you from there, but that's okay. Get up here. Okay. The first question we're just going to ask is, what is your stand on the states taking control of the federal land?
The question, for the folks in the back that didn't hear it, what is your stand on state taking over federal land? First of all, as far as federal lands, one of the biggest issues that a lot of the people that I've talked to is stewardship of the federal land. When I talk to local people working here, they want to be able to steward the land, but they're unable because of bureaucratic things to steward the land. So I think our local people would like to be going out there and cutting dead trees. Our local people would like to be going out there and spraying more weeds. That being said, could the state do a better job? One of the things that I've seen in the press is that these lands wouldn't be public lands. In my view, no matter what is done, if somebody decides that it should be state lands, we should have a way to ensure that they always stay public land for people to recreate in, for people to work in. As far as would we raise more dollars, I think a lot of the folks that I've talked to wish that we would be able to manage that timber. In Broadwater County, we have hundreds of thousands of acres of dead trees. Untie the hands and let these local people be able to work and do those things on federal land. If they can't, as the last alternative, let's try to do it and have the state do the job.
Thank you. Marla? Are you able to hear me in the back?
Yes.
Okay. Just a reminder, they have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, I think privatization is a bad idea, and I'll tell you why. Have you ever tried to get a problem solved with your telephone bill and you couldn't get it taken care of? Well, there's a correlation between having the state do it and having it be privatized, and I think that that's where we would be headed. I cut this article out of the paper. I thought it was really an interesting perspective, and that's exactly what this person thought. Transferring public lands is the first step to privatization. I think that that's exactly what would happen. And part of the problem with that is, how is the state going to afford to do that? So I see big issues as far as coming up with the money to do that. I hear a lot of complaints about the federal government not being able to manage it, but then I think that that's where we would be headed by privatizing this. And I think it would just wind up in private hands. So I'm against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now for the county commissioners, we will reverse it and have Laura Obert answer. What do you consider the biggest problem facing Broadwater County, and how would you solve this issue?
There's no question our biggest problem facing Broadwater County right now, and it's the incivility. It's been 2 years of the public coming to meetings and yelling at the commission, at attack ads in the newspaper, attack articles with grains of salt and truth, and that's about it. County commissioners calling other county commissioners liars in our meetings. We are in a very, very bad spot. But things started changing this summer. People started stepping up. People started coming to our meetings and adding a sense of civility to the meetings. People have started speaking out, saying, this is not okay, this is not our community, this is not who we are. What I would like to do to try and continue to fix this problem is, first of all, hold on to the strong faith that I have that blue skies are ahead. We are going to come out of this, and when we do, we're going to be stronger. For my part of what I've been through the last 2 years, I'm using it as a learning opportunity. I've learned a tremendous amount. I've grown personally and professionally, leaps and bounds in ways that I could have never experienced without these trials of the last 2 years. I'm hoping for a new team. I'd like to be a part of it as one of the old people, of course, but I do think a new team of leadership is exactly what the county needs. People who will work together for the good of the county, not for personal agendas, not for personal vendettas. We've got a great community here, and a lot of us moved here because of the quality of life it offers. A lot of us have felt real heartsick over what's happened. And what happens at the top trickles down to the bottom. What's happened is not okay, but there are blue skies ahead.
Okay, Member Avondale, same question.
Thank you. The biggest problem that we face right now in Broadwater County, in my opinion, is, I kind of led into that with my opening statement. The county commission is a 3-member team, and that 3-member team must work together in order to accomplish the people's business. Add another layer into that, the lack of really good, solid legal counsel, we end up with going wrong directions and making mistakes. Having an ability to make sure that the people's interests are protected by having a full team working together is essential to being able to do the people's business, and we have not seen that for quite some time. And we make mistakes when we don't have that team because we lose that checks and balances that our form of government provides. So how are we going to fix that? We are going to fix that by moving forward and sitting down and putting the 3 commissioners in a room and saying, all right, let's find out what we agree on. Let's sit down and come out and take care of the people's business. Let's knock this BS off of going out and attacking each other and taking care of business unprofessionally. We deserve better than that. Everyone in this room deserves better than that. And so my projection is we will come forward with a new guard that is going to work with not only the 3 commissioners, but we'll be building a team for the future of Broadwater County.
Okay, you can clap now. Okay, Corey, are you going to feel left out, or do you want to get up and answer a question?
I'll be happy to answer one.
Okay, let us get up. We can allow 2 minutes. She has a cell phone. How accessible to the public do you think the county attorney should be to the public? And when does it cause a conflict of interest?
Well, the county attorney, like everybody else that's an elected official or a county employee, works for the county, works for the voters, the taxpayers, the citizens of the county. So as far as a public official and as far as a lawyer, my client is the county, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that my client is every person from the county that walks in the door that wants me to do a will. And so I think it's a balance, and I deal with some of that in my job now. I work for the Attorney General, and our client is the entire state of Montana. And so I do my very best to be open to questions, and I'll say the questions I get the most often from the public in my current job is questions about concealed weapons permits and where you can take guns and all this stuff, because there's complicated things in state law. So, for an example, someone calls and says, some question about their concealed weapons permit. I do my best to point them to the statute and lead them to the answer without giving them legal advice as their private lawyer. So if somebody from the county wants to come in and ask me something, that's generally what I'll do. I may not be able to say, I'm giving you legal advice as if I were your lawyer that you hired, because I can't do that, but here's a statute to go look at, and here's some things that have worked in the past, here's a case, those kinds of things. I'll do my best to try and help people find the right answers if I can. As far as being accessible to the leaders, whether it's the law enforcement or the county commission, or just accessible for someone to come in and say, hey, there's a problem. There's a problem because we don't like what you're doing. That's the door that I'll always have open. I want to hear from you, and I want to certainly hear your concerns. And there's this mindset sometimes that lawyers have to remain aloof, and we certainly have to be able to, as prosecutors, have our own discretion on how we handle cases. And those are decisions I'll have to make by myself, but I certainly won't be aloof or separated from the public who hired me, because you're all my bosses.
Thank you. And now from the sheriff candidate, we'll change it. Brenda Ludwig will go first. And what do you consider the biggest problem the sheriff's office has to deal with in Broadwater County?
The biggest problem the sheriff's office has to deal with is probably personnel issues. By that I mean is retainability. Until recent past, we continuously had a turnover in the sheriff's office, whether it be with dispatch personnel or detention personnel or deputy personnel. We were continuously holding interviews for whether it be dispatch, detention, or deputy personnel. We were hiring, rehiring for one of the three positions. Retainability, because of the wages, was a continuous issue. Wages were a complete issue in our office. We recently went to the commissioners. They raised the dispatch and detention wages to a wage where hopefully we will continuously keep our personnel. We currently have 2 openings, and that will hopefully alleviate that. Right now, we currently have all the deputy positions filled, and we'll hopefully keep that filled. But that has been the hugest issue we've had at the sheriff's office, is keeping our personnel.
Thank you. Marvin, the same question.
I think one of the biggest concerns of the county is the size, mostly, and the limited, like you said, the limited manpower for size. Okay, and we fall under the Highway Patrol does the same thing. I run a detachment that squares from White Sulphur Springs down to West Yellowstone. We have 1 person on during the Highway Patrol. I may end up in West Yellowstone. Okay, that's some of the issues. You as citizens, when you call, you just want somebody to respond, am I right? You want somebody to be there, okay? Manpower is an issue, and it has been in the Highway Patrol. We solved it by raising the wage of everyone by doing a House Bill 35, okay? The biggest thing in this county is the size and how do we get patrols up north and how do we get it down south? How do we do that? We can't hire more people because we just don't have the budget to hire more people. So we need to consistently work in sending somebody south, sending somebody north. You guys want, when you call, you want somebody to respond. That's what you need. And you want somebody to call you back. Those are the concerns. If somebody doesn't show up at your house, you're not concerned about who they're hiring. You're concerned about somebody coming to your house, especially in an emergency. That's what you're concerned about, okay? And a lot of the things, don't let things fool you. I work for the Miles City Police Department, my hometown. My family lives there. The money was all right. That wasn't my concern. The concern was management. That's why people leave. You can make do with what you get as a wage. Hometown, my wife's family was there. We decided to get out. It wasn't because of the wage. The wage was all right. It was because of the management. Okay? So don't let it fool you. Thank you.
Okay, the next question is from Justice of Peace, and we will change it to your vote first. What do you consider the most important role the Justice of Peace has?
Well, obviously, the most important role is making sure that all the citizens of Broadwater County don't have their rights violated. All right. I mean, we all have constitutional rights. The first one being the freedom of speech, which is very important. The second one, the right to bear arms, also important. But as we get further up, the due process of how you're taken through the legal system. For some reason you're arrested. It's important that the JOP can make sure that your rights haven't been violated, and that throughout that process that you're treated exactly how it should be under the Constitution of the United States. That'd be the first thing. Second of all, we need to maintain. We need to actually crack down a little bit on some of the things that have been going on in this county. I know this doesn't really pertain to what the question was, but I'd like to go into it a little bit. First of all, Judge Olson did a great job in all these things, but I would like to continue it. Keeping drug use out of the schools. I don't want to say I have a vendetta against anything, but certainly things that affect the well-being and safety of the general public are things that I really want to concentrate on. The second thing is making sure that all this thieving and stuff that's going around towns is dealt with appropriately. I think everybody's tired of having to lock their doors and getting stuff stolen out of the front seats of their trucks. Just the four-wheeler got stolen from Broadwater Ford the other day. These things affect the well-being of the general public. And as Justice of the Peace, if misdemeanors like that stuff come through my court, I will definitely pay attention to them. Thank you.
Okay. Del Jane?
Could you repeat the question?
Okay. What do you consider the most important role the Justice of Peace has?
Okay, well, the Justice of Peace is a position that's regulated quite a bit, and everything is statutorily printed out. So, if some kind of an issue comes in, a criminal or civil case, the judge will have to decide over that and listen to the whole concerns, but it's pretty much governed by the law books. But being a judge, you have to be fair and impartial, and you listen to the whole side of the story. There's always two sides to every story, and you keep control of the situation. You're going to have lawyers on both sides, and you've got to make sure that they follow the rules and judge them fairly. And if it's a jury trial, then you're going to have to keep them on the lawyers on the guard, make sure they play the game right, and then the jury is allowed to listen and collect evidence and issues it properly. That's up to the judge to do that. Now, if it's a judge case, he has to listen to all that stuff without the jury, of course, and and have to make a decision on what is presented. And I've pretty much done that for 27 years. I listened to both sides, even though I enforce the law. I've always practiced that, and if I had to take a course of action, I was always fair and was willing to listen to the other side of the story. So I don't think it's going to be a real big issue on my standpoint, and we'll carry through with it. Thank you.
Okay, now each candidate will be allowed to ask their opponent a question. And they have 2 minutes to answer. And Donald's doing an excellent job up here. So, Marla, you'll go first this time because he went first last time. Would you come up here and ask your question to Kelly?
Okay.
So everyone can hear.
Well, my question is, this comes from some of the people that I have talked to. Why did you vote to not expand Medicaid? Why did you vote against it?
I'd like to thank my opponent. That was my question to her. Medicaid expansion. Medicaid expansion. What does that really mean for all of you? What it means to all of you is this. For the first few years, we don't pay too much money as state citizens. But here's a report right here, University of Montana, about Medicaid expansion. Page 16, 2021. Medicaid expansion will cost you $152 million. You. So my question to myself was, what am I going to cut? Or am I going to raise taxes? And I don't want to raise taxes. So on the House floor, I spoke and said, you know, I'm going to vote for public education because that $152 million goes up and up and up. This report is based on 3.6%, when actually inflation on Medicaid increased 8.1%. So what it means to all of you is you have to ask the question to yourself, what are you going to sacrifice, or will you raise taxes? And that's the reason I voted no on Medicaid expansion.
Okay, just stay there. It's your turn to ask Marla a question.
Why or why not would you support Medicaid expansion?
Because the information that I have says that it would create 13,000 plus jobs, and it would also give insurance to 70,000 Montanans. Now, whether or not that would raise the taxes that much, I don't really have that information. However, my thought on this is, if we could afford this land swap thing, how could we afford that and not afford to invest in our people in this state?
Okay, moving right along here, we'll go to the county commissioners. And last time it was Laura, so this time, or am I wrong? Who was first last time? You were, okay, Tim, your turn to ask Laura a question.
Oh, so many questions. And not enough time this evening. I believe that probably the one most important question be asked is in fiscal responsibility. And as we look at the budget process that we're currently going through, we've been looking at cost of living increase raises. We've been looking at a substantial catch-up in paying public employees a higher wage, which kind of goes back into the retention situation. We have union layers that play into that. I think the question is these are increased costs to we, the taxpayers, by adding expenses to the budget. What we don't see at this point in time is an additional revenue to back up those increases. So the problem that I see, and the question is at what point do the departments not able to absorb those additional costs as we continue to add more expenses without revenue?
Thank you, Tim. Tim touched on a lot of things. First of all, catch-up. We are playing catch-up right now. For years, employees' wages were all but frozen. They may have gotten a little bit here and there. We are playing catch-up. We've been having some market adjustments done by department heads that prove when you look at other like counties, same valuation, same population, same land mass, that we are rock bottom. So we've had to kind of look at that. But everything has been paid for. I'm going to give you one example. We had one employee whose position was vacated. She was one of the top paid employees for the county. When you add all her benefits, work comp, FICA, health benefits, everything, she was taking home about $63,000 a year. Instead of filling that position, we didn't. What we did is we took the different jobs that had been held by that position and we spread those out to employees that were already on the payrolls. These are employees who've been with us for a lot of years. They knew their jobs. They were in a position to take on more responsibility. Through those market adjustments, we did raise their salaries some. The cost for that was about $13,000. Doesn't take a math whiz to do that math. We do have the money also. If you look at the future of Broadwater County, we did an economic study to see where we could expect to be in the next 10 and 15 years. The graph goes up. Now, with what Department of Revenue did with the Supreme Court decision, you guys read about some of that, what they did is they revalued some subdivisions, and so it gave us a little bit of a bump. Not a bump down, but actually less of a bump up. We're still increasing. The business equipment tax that went through the legislature reduced business taxes on business equipment. But what the legislature did, in their wisdom, is they actually told the counties, you're not going to be suffering from lack of funds to do what you need to do for the citizens. We're going to fill in that lost revenue for you through entitlement share. So yes, the valuation went down, but the entitlement share went up. So one, we're paying for everything that we're doing as we go. Broadwater County's future is bright if you just look at the business development that we have going on right now. And thank you very much for the question, Tim. And now it's my turn. All right. So, Tim, you mentioned that you are a citizen lobbyist at the legislature every 2 years. You're well known there. You have a work history. A couple of years ago, you served as the president of the Big Sky Tea Party for 20-some days, I understand. You had a newspaper. It was an extremist newspaper that you had trouble getting sponsorship for and trouble getting businesses to hand it out for you. That folded. Then you were appointed or voted in as the chairman of the Republican Party for Broadwater County, Republican Central Committee. And in about 5 months, you were unanimously voted out of that position for some comments you had made to a representative of OPI. Different leaders in Helena who have worked with you or seen you in action have commented. Max Polensky, who was the past CEO of the Drumheller Mine in Marysville, said that you are, with a friend like you for mining, who needs enemies. Our Senator, Dave Lewis, and our State Attorney General, Tim Fox, have both said that you are not viable. So, understanding the commissioners have to be able to work with these partners, Tim, are you viable?
Further question, Laura? Yes, very viable, because one of the things that we continue to keep avoiding to look at is the need here in our current society to start standing up. And sometimes you just have to put a line down that's not in sand, that can be moved, but it has to be solid. We cannot continue taking and playing games, because we've been doing that for 30-some or even longer years. We have to stand up for the people's rights. If we fail to do that, our constitutional republic is lost. That is the foundation of our freedom. The property rights of people absolutely comes forward. If we want to talk about my history in stepping up and taking that lead, if you will, and being challenged, certainly I'm willing to talk to any one of you folks about what the really true situation is behind each of the instances that Laura mentioned. I have nothing to hide. I have built a great experience in some of the things that I have done over the years. I'm not going to come right out here and say that they were not happening. These things did happen. They were a learning experience for me, and they were absolutely invaluable for being a representative and a viable representative for you, the people, because you need somebody that will stand up and do the right thing and defend our rights as citizens, each and every one of us, without exception. Thank you.
Now the sheriff and Marvin, it's your turn. Pardon? Oh, am I wrong? I see a chip. We didn't ask each other. Are you just doing it there quietly? False. Okay, well, let's go on to the JP. Okay? And for that, it would be Cal, you're first to ask the question.
I guess I haven't really thought about a question for Kirk. He's a pretty good, upstanding kid. He went to school with my boys, and I just know all about him. So I guess the one question I'd ask is, if you get in, how long do you plan on staying?
You know, as I said in my first little introduction, I went to school at MSU, and after I graduated, I wanted to come back to Broadwater County. You know, my goal is to grow up here, raise a family, which will be started here sooner than I expected, and eventually retire. You know, my family's been here forever. I don't think that everybody realizes just how great we have in Broadwater County. There's people that come here and pay thousands of dollars to experience our lifestyle just for a few days. We get to experience it every day for free. So I'm going to be here till the end of it, you know, as a justice of the peace. As long as you guys keep electing me, I'm going to be here. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, may I ask Cal?
I like Cal too, so I gave him a pretty easy question. I wrote it pretty bad. Cal, with all your years as being a highway patrol, seeing all the things that you've seen, and let me just say, the highway patrol is not an easy job. These guys put their lives in danger every time they go out, and we really do owe them a debt as well. So, but after seeing everything you've seen, do you think it would be harder for you to be impartial when the same things you get tickets for hundreds and hundreds of times come across your bench? If not, please explain why.
Yeah, I think on some cases it would be, I would have to take a big look at myself and adjust myself, because you get in one role for this many years and then you've got to be impartial. But like I said earlier, that any enforcement action that I've taken in the past, I've already considered pretty much everything that I thought was necessary, and even on their side too. So it isn't easy going out and enforcing laws and making those decisions, except on a couple of cases, but I won't get into that. That was pretty easy to do. But overall, it'll be an adjustment for me, but I think I know I can be fair because I know the system, and it should be a difficult time at all.
Now it has come time for the audience that they may ask questions, and I think we should put a time limit on that too, right, Robin? We're good at it. Pardon? 2 minutes? Plenty? Okay. Are there any, remember to be kind. Are there any questions? Okay, in that case. Okay, yeah. Go through the moderator, please. Your question?
Talk to you.
Right.
I have a question
Stand
for
up,
the
please.
commissioners and the commission candidates. And
Stand up, please.
And that question is, what is your, I guess, opinion on public access to public lands, and what is the county's role?
And that's for the commissioners?
Commission.
Okay, what is your opinion on public access and state, I think you're good, and what is the county's role?
Broadwater County relies on tourism dollars for a lot of our economy. A lot of the people who come here looking to recreate. Access to public lands is essential to a part of our economy. Being able to support so many of the businesses that rely on recreational dollars is essential to the overall economy of the county. So I do support access to public lands. As far as the county's role, many of the county roads lead to public lands. Maintaining those roads, if there is no other access and there's a historic road, that's a great avenue for being able to maintain that access to some of our public lands. We have public monuments, we have so many treasures here. So bottom line, I support access to public lands.
Laura and I agree. Okay. This is really something that I've dealt with for many more years than I want to really even think about. Access to public land for natural resource development and beneficial use is paramount to our private property rights and our ability to live here in Montana. We have been trying for many years here in Broadwater County to establish coordination with our federal land management agencies so that we have a true seat at the table rather than having lip service. Thank you for your comment, which is what normally happens at the federal level when the planning processes go through. And a prime example is the South Belts travel plan. When we tried to get that started and we ended up having a lot of access lost due to environmental reasons, and we need to stop that. The way we do that is we get a true seat at the table, we develop our own plan at the local level and put that in place so that when the Forest Service or BLM or a state comes forward with a planning process, they need to come to us. We don't have to chase 14,000 meetings to try and keep up. Thank you.
I missed a part of the program. And when you asked, the opponent asked a question of you and you answered it, you were to allow a 1 minute rebuttal. So is there anything that you want to stand up and clear up? Oh, good, okay. Oh, I knew it.
Thank you for the opportunity. My opponent made several points, and I'm going to address each point. First of all, the figure of 152 million is based on if the federal government pays 10%. What happens now in Medicaid? We have gone from the federal government paying 34% to now only 27%. Each percent means you, taxpayers, pay $11 million more. Second point, she talked about job, the creation of jobs. Right now, for people on Medicaid in Montana, it creates one job for every 13. Under this scenario, it says it's going to create a job for every 5, 2.5 times more. It's non-realistic.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to, evidently you're opposed? All out? Okay. Okay, Andrea?
My question is for two House representatives. You mentioned kind of what you believe in, but you didn't really give us a background of who you are and what qualifications you have for this position. Would you briefly summarize that for us?
I'm not sure I heard you.
Would you briefly summarize your qualifications for being a House representative in our state government?
Would you briefly tell us your qualifications for being a candidate, representative in state government? For both of them? For both of them.
I am a taxpayer. Well, I'm a citizen just like you are. I've been working hard all of my life, paying taxes and doing various jobs. I'm an ordinary person. I don't like to think of myself even as a politician. I really don't like politics. But my goal is I want to have a voice in the legislature, you know, where it can be changed to things that are more supportive to our community. And I think that that kind of speaks for itself. I mean, I want to be that voice for people that think like I do. But then I also realize that we have to, and this is the most important thing, we're all in this together. We all need to work together, regardless of who wins this election. That is the most important thing, because if we don't, I think we're going to sink our own boat. So I'll leave it up to you, the voters, to decide who you think is best. Thank you.
Your qualifications?
I am one of you, and I will fight for you, and I have fought for you. Not just Republican, not just Democrats, all of you. In the legislature, we passed a number of bills that I worked on with the other party. I know it takes that. I know it takes that. I've been there to go around. I often tell this one, and I'm telling it quite seriously. Why did the cowboy legislature buy a wiener dog? Because someone told me to get a long little doggy.
Okay, thank you. I know it's going to get a trophy. Okay, we see Brenda has returned, so I'm going to allow Marvin to ask her a question, and then Brenda, you may ask him a question.
Okay, I pulled pulled this from the Helena Independent Record on November 9th, 2006. You stated, as you were elected sheriff, that the goal of your work was to revamp how the patrols are done and officer interacting more with the people. And then on your second election that you won, you stated you were going to do sheriff's deputies more involved with community and work on the underage drinking problem. Have you accomplished any of those things you've done in your first 4 years as well as your all 8 years?
Okay, sheriff's deputies more involved with communities, with the community. As you know, as you know, some of the deputies are or have been involved in some of the sports programs. So I would say, yeah, they have been involved in the community. Underage drinking, we have a zero tolerance, so yes. Also with the let me scoot back here, then I can read it. Revamp how the patrols are done. As you touched on, patrolling around the schools. Now that we are at full staff, one of the deputies on day shift is assigned to patrol around the schools. So yeah, revamping on the patrols. So I would say that now that we are full staff, interacting more with people. I do believe that we do interact more with people. We are more active in the community. As you read in the newspaper, we are conducting more traffic stops. We're more active. We're patrolling the highways more. I don't know what you're, I guess you're, what's that? Oh, okay. That's fine.
Okay, time's up, so while you're there, you may ask Marvin a question.
Okay, Marvin, recently we had a Department of Public Safety forum, I don't want to say forum, we had a meeting with the city in regards to the 2004 decision from, it would be, it was before me, from the previous sheriff, where they set wages out of compliance with the state statute. Out of compliance with the state statute. And we met with the city in regards to possibly setting a Department of Public Safety. So possibly setting up a Department of Public Safety because we're out of compliance with the state statute. And the Department of Public Safety was not established. We are currently out of compliance with the state statute. What would be your suggestion so that the county could get back in compliance with the state statute?
I don't know much about the Public Safety Committee. I heard the city turned it down, which I firmly believe as living in the city, and if I was on the board, the city board, I would have turned it down too, because it puts too much I mean, you bring in, the city pays so much to the county, as you know, on a yearly basis. They contract you to do it. Now, if you sign something like that, you're bringing in, the city takes responsibility of the jail, which they don't want to. The jail can run endless dollars, as you know, the jail can. You know, that's something, I don't know the whole gist of those things. I got that the county's out of compliance. You're breaking state law. That's what you're going to do. Probably you're going to end up maybe having a lawsuit. That's what's going to happen under the state laws. So I would have to, if I was the sheriff, I'd have to look into it more. That's what I'd have to do. But from that point, that's it.
Any rebuttals?
Any rebuttal to my question, or your question to me? A couple things on the articles. Revamping the patrols are done. I am a highway patrolman, and I've heard a lot of patrolmen tell me that the county of Broadwater seems more like the highway patrol than the highway patrol itself. They're out on the highways more than they're in the city limits or patrolling on the outer areas. As for the underage drinking education, we don't have dare in the schools anymore. Okay? We haven't replaced a drug task force agent in 6 months. And as you know, as Kurt Flynn said, there's drugs in this city. Everyone knows it. Okay? And I haven't seen too many officers interacting. I was just at a football game on a couple Fridays ago, and I didn't see any. Okay? I go to basketballs regularly, and I don't see any. Okay? And that's not just sporting events. Okay? So, that's all I got.
You are correct. We are out there more than the highway patrol. And the reason for that is because the highway patrol will not come in Broadwater County and patrol our highways. About 2 weeks ago, when I was transporting an individual to Helena for a mental health evaluation, I ran into 2 highway patrolmen, and they said they will not patrol in Broadwater County because when they sight down here, their stuff gets dismissed. So we have to patrol Broadwater County. So we are patrolling down here.
Excuse me, that was a because. Why?
Because of the county attorney.
What a lie.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more questions from the audience?
That is such a lie, and she knows it.
We recently moved back and it's pretty clear from reading in the paper that both Laura and Tim are very active in the county government. But governing is not in a vacuum. To represent the people of Broadwater County, we need to have people involved in the county with the people. And so my question to both candidates would be, what's their involvement in the county, in the activities of the county, with the people of the county, other than within the county governments?
Okay, thank you. I should have you identify yourself. This is Victor Sample. That was Andrea Johnson, Beth Ivy. Okay, the question to the commissioners is, what other than county commissioner meetings, what else in the county are you involved in?
I have been involved in our community for many years, but not in the normal sense that everybody looks at. For example, your civic organizations, the Rotary, the Lions Club, that are doing great jobs for with our community. Where I have been interacting with the community and the citizens of Broadwater County is on the street, in the cafes, at the different locations where we meet as people that are neighbors and friends. And that's where I keep my thumb on the pulse of where I need to be able to represent you as fellow citizens. It is so important to make sure that we're able to have that open door communication, and because it's not structured, it makes it more of a relaxed hometown ability to communicate. So I'm working to get within the community as well as across the county to make sure that I get out there and make sure that we're all in an open door process.
Laura, same question.
Before I decided to run for county commissioner 6 years ago, the day before, I was actually at MSU looking at getting into classes again to get my teaching certificate to teach elementary school. One of the things that I was able to do, I kind of fell into substitute teaching totally by accident and think that 4th and 5th graders are the greatest creatures on the earth. They energize me. So when I did become county commissioner, and actually before that as well, I taught the after-school art program. I've taught art in the schools. I've judged 4-H for the kids' speech meets. I absolutely adore being in the school. I have not been able to as much in the last couple of years as I would really like, and frankly as much as I need to for me. As far as community involvement, I'm a founding member of the Soroctonist Club. We founded that about 13 years ago. It is no longer today. We kind of wrapped it into Rotary. I am active in Rotary, past president. I work on Fall Fest. I'm the vice chairman this year and chair of the vendor committee. I am a past secretary of BCDC, Broadwater County Development Corporation. I am an active member of the Chamber of Commerce. There's a lot more, but I'm just not going to think of all of them. But I will tell you one thing that really irks me is the people who show up to volunteer the year they're running for election. I have been an active volunteer every single year for over a decade. And it's not because I want a job, it's not because I'm running for something, it's because I truly love this community and want to work for it, and I'm happy to volunteer my time to that end. So, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, this question is for Sergeant Reddick. Sergeant Reddick, I'm Carla Bossi, I'm your county attorney currently, and I just have to ask you this question, pretty much kind of a rebuttal to something that the sheriff just said, but you're the sergeant, you've been the sergeant in this area pretty much the entire time I've been here. I came here August 2012, and I believe you came back to the area October, November, if that's correct. My recollection is that we have about a 95 to 98% conviction rate on MHP citations, and I cannot recollect a single one that I have ever dismissed outright. I've never had a single complaint from Cal, from yourself, or from any of the other troopers, so I wonder, could you shed some light on this complaint with Broadwater County Attorney's Office prosecuting Montana Highway Patrol cases in this county?
Did everyone hear that question?
And I'll get into it. The officer she's mentioning is not in my detachment with Cal and me. He's actually out of Helena. And I don't know, and like I said, I asked the sheriff, I said, I'll get to the bottom of it tomorrow, okay? Cal's never heard me say, never patrol Broadwater County. He lives here, why wouldn't he? I patrol the Bozeman every day. I stop in Broadwater County, stop everyone in Broadwater County that's doing something wrong, over the post of speed. Okay? Cal's never heard that. Nor have I, okay? And I've had, of all the cases I've had one with Carla that's upset me more than any of them, okay? And it was a simple, stop a vehicle for expired plates, okay? Drivers suspended, no seatbelt, okay? Right? Pretty easy. They dismiss the seatbelt ticket and the expired plates, and they reduce the suspended ticket down to no driver's license. Why are we out here? Okay? Especially seatbelts. Aren't we, safety is the number one goal out here on the highways? People die without seatbelts. That's the only issue I've had with Carla. Okay? But I've never told people in the Bozeman district, in the Helena district, never to work for Broadwater County. Plain and simple, we don't go to court that much. Most of the tickets we write are speeding tickets, and we never go to court on them. Occasionally you might have a suspended driver, okay? And she told me who the officer is. I will call him in the morning and ask if he's heard that and who he heard it from.
Waste Department Supervisor for Broadwater County. And I drive around the county and I see candidate Ravendell's signs that say, less government, reduce taxes. I want to know what you mean by less government.
Okay, Tim wants to know what he means. The question's to Tim, what does he mean by less government?
I'm trying to think of which county we're talking about, because none of my signs say that.
Broadwater Reporter ad last week.
There is some advertisement in paper, advertising some campaign ads, but my signs that are out on the streets don't have that.
What do you mean by
to answer that question in the ad in the paper, less government means that we have to be fiscally responsible. If we are going and growing and growing, we have to make sure that the citizens who are the ultimate payers of these growth policies, et cetera, are able to sustain that. If it's not, then we need to make sure that we take care of that. If that means cutting back on the size of government, maybe that's what we need to look at. But we need to have all of the parts of the puzzle on the table before we can make that decision. And so when we come into the discussion with only a small piece of the puzzle and only a couple of the players at the table, it's hard to make that decision. We need to change that so that we can have the full picture and make the right decisions.
Let's see, it doesn't say that. We'll give you 1 minute.
Take 30 seconds. Tim said he can't come to the table with just a little piece of the information. Tim's coming to the table with just a little piece of the information. I think what we need instead of less government is smart government. Broadwater County's budget is balanced. We have $949,000 of pills in the bank right now. We have investments totaling $7,730,000 also in the bank right now. Everything we do is affordable. We are investing in our people. We are providing services. Tim just doesn't have enough of the picture to be making these statements.
Okay, well, it is an informative forum, so are there any other questions? Pam?
My name is Pam Sample, and this question is for both of you guys, and maybe Laura just added to it. I see PILT all the time. I'm not sure what that is, and I just want to know how you would use, and do you use federal funding as much as you can, or how do you feel about using federal funding?
Okay, the question is, what is PILT money, and how does the county use it? And
is it federal?
Yeah, well, it's payment in lieu of tax. Bill, explain.
Payment is indeed payment in lieu of taxes. It is the federal government's property tax on public lands. It is paid to counties, 1,192 counties across the U.S., including in all 50 states, receive PILT payments. PILT payments to counties is the result of two congressional acts, one dating back to 1908 and the other in the 1960s. It will take a congressional act of Congress in order to overturn PILT payments. The debate over PILT annually in Congress right now is not whether or not to pay it, it's how much. In the past, we got about 40%. In the last 4 years, we've been funded at 100% of PILT, which is between $500,000 and $600,000. This year, it was $572,000. What we do, because we don't know how much we will get from year to year, it could be funded at 40% next year, so we use it very, very frugally. What we do is we use PILT just to fund capital investments, capital expenditures, or unforeseen expenses. We don't use it to balance the budget. A lot of counties do. The majority of the counties use their PILT to balance the budget because of keeping taxes low. We have been much more frugally responsible going back decades, and this is an example that was set for us by the previous commissions. If, however, PILT were to stop or be funded at a much lower rate than even 40%, the number of counties that would go bankrupt in 1 year would be staggering. Can you imagine the PR mess that those congressmen would have? So those are just some things to think about. People do say we're going to lose PILT. It is nothing more than a scare tactic. The facts are it's going to take a congressional act, overturn 2 congressional acts in order to do away with PILT. Congress isn't getting much done right now. They're not going to get 2 congressional